but then you ended up coming back to Labyrinth for, back obviously about, it doesn't seem that long ago, but it was 15 years ago.
Yes.
For Return to Heaven Denied Part 2. And how did that all happen? What brought you back to these guys to start working with them again?
There's never been any harsh feelings between us, It's
Yeah.
I just made my choice, and they could keep on doing whatever they wanted with the band. Especially one of the reasons why I left is that after Sons of Thunder,
Mhm.
I absolutely wanted to proceed quickly, release again a new album, and go back to the production and style in the same direction of Return to Heaven Denied.
Yeah.
While the other guys, they wanted to proceed towards some more experimental music, as we were calling back then.
Yeah.
Which it happened. If you listen to songs like, when they released Labyrinth, the first album without me, I was still part for some time of the songwriting. I wrote some things in there. So Labyrinth was still an album more or less in the same direction, even if it was already changing too much for me, and
Right.
that's why I left. But if
Okay.
you listen to the albums after, like I don't know, the 6 Days to Nowhere or Freeman, they sound completely different from what Labyrinth were
Correct.
in the early days. And at the same time, that's why I decided to focus on Vision Divine, because I could keep on with my style. After so many years, more or less, what after 10 years, we got a dinner all together, me, Roberto, and Andrea, and we were talking about maybe after so many years, it was a good time to release that album. I've always been talking about back then, like we should release something like Return to Heaven Denied Part 2, which not supposedly had to be necessarily the title, but it was like mentioning the style, like let's release a Part 2 of that album.
Yeah.
And that happened anyway. In the end, we decided to write it and to name it Return to Heaven Denied Part 2.
Yeah. And so, interestingly enough, when I listen to Vision Divine and Labyrinth, as I mentioned before, that they were both kind of very different bands, and you're obviously still doing both of them. Is it difficult to kind of juggle two bands like that? To kind of, write two different, albums, and then maybe even tour and stuff like that. Do you find that very difficult, or do you have a routine that makes that pretty easy for you?
It's pretty easy, and it's all a matter of feelings. I perceive the bands as two very different bands. What we play nowadays, it's not easy to be compared. Of course, it's still metal, and if you want to call it power metal, but I think the two bands sounds very different. At least they sound very different in my head when I think about them.
Yeah.
So when I compose something for Vision Divine, it's pretty clear what I do or I should not do
Yeah.
for the band. And I don't know, it's more difficult to explain actually than actually do it. Actually doing it, it's much easier than trying to explain.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.